folks. Welcome back to The Gifted Ones, and I'm your host, Liz Throp. Today, I'm bringing you a guest from the future. Yep, that's right, folks. It's that cool. I've got basically somebody who's literally and figuratively coming to us from the future. Marcus is coming from Sydney, Australia. So technically, it's basically the future there, right? Because it's 8:45 here, and I think it's 10:45 p.m. where you are. Is that right? Do you like how I did that? Okay, so Marcus Hoody, it's Hoody, right? I know, but your last name is Lang, right?
That's correct.
So everybody online would know you as Marcus Hoody, but your last name is Lang. So Marcus hails from Sydney, as I mentioned earlier. He's always saw spirit as a young child, but didn't understand it. He had a near-death experience at 21 years old in 1991, and where he agreed to be developed as a psychic medium with the spirits he encountered during that experience. After 2 years of no one believing him or his story, he drifted into skepticism as a way of which to protect himself. I can appreciate that. Marcus moved from the Gold Coast, to the Gold Coast in Queensland in 2008. He discovered the apartment that him and his wife had rented was haunted. And it was during this experience that he had no choice but to accept his gifts again. The stronger he got, the stronger the poltergeist got in the apartment. And while fleeing the place with his wife in the middle of the night, he was struck by a car while riding his motorcycle. He was nearly killed again. Upon his return from the hospital, he began receiving visits and guidance from a childhood friend, Les. That's right. And Les is on the other side. So anybody watching this is very wonderful, because Les was very instrumental in your near-death experience as well, your first one, right?
That's correct, yeah.
And he explained to you your need to develop as a psychic medium. And he's been a major part in your life, still to this day, supporting you from the other side. You have since been reunited with a daughter in spirit and family members in spirit. Marcus was also a member of the paranormal investigation team in Australia for about a year. And in the last 7 years, he's been helping others realize that consciousness continues with the help from his spirit team by allowing folks to experience interaction with spirit. He is well known for apportation, which we're going to get into later on in this interview. It's the materialization of objects that fall from the ceiling. He is a channeler and holds seances where spirit can sometimes be heard by all in attendance actually speaking. He is currently working on developing, and this is the cool thing, folks, he's working on developing new communications method with spirit using modern technology from the help of your spirit team. Again, Marcus, thank you so much for joining us today on The Gifted Ones.
Thank you. It's very nice to be here.
Oh, I'm just so excited because I've been, you're literally one of my faves on Facebook. I've been following you for a good couple of years, and just watching the stuff that you're coming out with, it's just off the charts and exciting. So I had to get you on here because people need to know about you. So let's start I'm going to start that over again. Sorry. Let's start by asking the first question so that everybody who knows why you're here. I'm going to start that over again. See, this is what I do. Okay. And we're going to start. Let's start by asking you the first question. What exactly is a near-death experience, or as you may refer to it throughout this interview, an NDE?
Well, an NDE is exactly that. It's a near-death experience. It's about the closest we can get to death and come back. So it's a personal experience, and it's commonly reported people experience being with people they knew, family, friends, even religious figures. It's usually when the body ceases, but of course the soul, the spirit, that's still quite alive.
Right.
And find themselves in another place. And it's usually quite spiritually transformative.
Amazing. Well, I did some research on near-death experience, and I I just discovered so many cool things about it. One of the things that in order to have a near-death experience, they say you need to have limited brain function. The person has to have a flat EEG, which is the absence of electrical activity in the cerebral cortex, the absence of gag reflex, and dilated pupils. So you were figuratively dead when this happened.
Pretty much it,
Yeah. So can you explain to the folks watching this, what happened during this experience?
Well, I like to say, I woke up dead.
Yeah.
What happened, I had no expectation of anything. I thought just life ceased. That would be the end of it. Nothing. But I woke up and I remember thinking my eyes were so wide. Like they literally felt as wider than I've ever felt them open before. And I was looking around and thinking I was still in the body at this point.
Right.
And I felt really good, like better than I'd ever felt I could ever remember. And I remember asking myself, thinking to myself, I must be meditating. But I realised that I've never meditated. I have no idea how to meditate. I don't even know what meditation is. So that was out the window.
Wow.
And then I just sort of, it felt so good that I just accepted the way I was feeling. And that lasted for it seemed like a couple of minutes.
Right.
And then without any input from me, I just started to float out of the body. And it wasn't even scary. I mean, it just felt natural.
Right.
Like it just so natural that you just go with it. There was no fear involved, anything like that. And so I floated up towards the ceiling and I stopped at the ceiling. And that's where it all became freaky. Not scary, just...
Yeah, like what's going on?
Yeah. Well, by changing focus with this sight, like wide eyes sort of thing, I was looking down and by changing focus I could see literally through myself at what I call the body on the bed, which was me.
Right.
And I thought that was fascinating to me. And then I could change focus again. I don't know how I was doing it, but just changing focus, it's the only way I can think of it.
Yeah.
And I could see myself in a different light, like literally light, which is now what we know as the spirit body.
Right.
But, and I had a little while there. That seemed like a few minutes there as well, that I got to enjoy the experience, because I was enjoying the experience.
Yeah.
Curious sort of mind, and to me that was just fascinating. And then a lot of people, they go through a tunnel and things like that. I didn't have that. For me, it was a simple, like a click of the fingers, and I went from here to another place. And that place, the first I found myself there was in a beautiful forest. Just beautiful pine trees, just beautiful. And I noticed that there was this person in front of me, and we were flying, like we were off the ground, probably about 6 foot or so, and we were moving through the forest. I was behind who I now know as Les, and it was like I thought I must be tethered to this person, because when he moves, I move.
Right.
In the directions. And this happened until we got to this rocky outcrop in a clearing. And when I got there, I noticed there were other people there too. There was a man standing there talking to these people, and I was told to sit down with them on the rocks. There was no chair. It wasn't the Hilton. But it was all very comfortable. As I said, it felt so natural.
Yeah.
There was no questioning. You just went with it. And I sat there and I realised that the other people that were there too were all having a near-death experience as well.
Wow.
Yeah. This place was somewhere... I'm not sure that all people who have a near-death experience go to a place like this. A lot of people have very different experiences. But this place was for where people were offered another chance at doing something if they came back. And that's where I was offered the role that I'm doing now, I guess.
Wow.
Everything was so telepathic. There was was no speaking or anything like that verbally through the mouth.
Right.
It was all face, and that's how I knew what the other people were there for, and
Okay.
that's how I what place I was in, why I was there. And I also noticed that, because I'm curious, I think of all these things I wanted to know. I was wondering, and it was like downloading information. I'd wonder about time, and then all of a sudden I knew the answer to what I was thinking, and just wondered. But that's at the Rocky place, the Rocky Outcrop. That's where I was talked to, and I guess I didn't have to come back because it was a choice that I was given.
Okay, so yeah. That's kind of...
Don't have a choice.
Okay.
They fight against that, and they want to stay there.
Okay.
So my case is a little bit unique in that. And I was told that if I do come back, then I'd be able to do something special that would help a lot of people. And the funny thing is, I was a bit of a selfish sort of a bullfed back then, and it really surprised me to this day that there was this urge that was more important than what I wanted, which was obviously to be there because it felt so great.
Yes.
Even today I think, wow, I was a pretty selfish sort of guy back then.
But I can appreciate when you're in that state of pure loving, blanketed loving energy, why would you want to come back, right? So it must have been hard.
Well, when my experience happened, I was in a horrible marriage. It was a very depressing time. Things just weren't... Life really sucked.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it was just enveloped with... You just knew you were loved.
Yeah.
With something I hadn't felt even in my marriage at that time.
Oh, that's very sad.
That's life.
Say that again? You cut...
That's my first wife. I didn't stay there long after the ending.
Yeah. I love it. Well, as I said earlier, I did a lot of research and studies going back to 1982. So those watching this going, is this real? Is this guy real? There have been studies done, a Gallup survey since 1982, and approximately 8 million adults in the USA alone. So not covering the whole world, just the USA, 8 million adults have experienced NDEs. And this one's the coolest thing that I found in my research, that 80% of blind people could see and describe details during their NDE. So the one thing that I remember was there was a woman who was blind from birth. She was describing how the doctor that was tending to her had the same color hair as her and how she had the same color eyes as her. How could she possibly know that? So it's not a make-believe kind of thing. Like, this stuff is happening, and it's happening all over the world, and it happened to you, which is just epic.
The numbers are phenomenal.
Yeah.
The amount of people this happens to, I mean, it's not a rare thing at all.
Right.
It happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of evidence supporting the reality of these things.
Exactly. And I was thinking, even the studies that were done, that's people who came forward because you were hesitant about coming forward. I remember going back a couple of, you've been sort of coming out with your experiences and speaking your truth about your experiences, which is so beautiful, to be the person on the other side of the computer getting to see you unfold like this. It's wonderful for us. So thank you for that. But what I'm going to take that to the next, why do you think it wasn't your time? Why do you think you were asked to come back or given the option to come back?
Because there was something a little bit different about me that is conducive to what we call physical mediumship. So it's a vibrational thing. I was that way since birth.
Yes.
Because I remember waking up in the middle of the night often to 3 old ladies standing around my bed who I never saw before in my life.
Yeah.
How they got them there, no idea.
Yeah.
But now I know that they were checking me out to potential.
Oh, okay.
I recognised back then, and therefore I was perfectly suited to this, what I'm doing now.
Beautiful.
So it was important because it's not a common thing, physical mediumship. It's quite rare.
No, it's not. Yeah, that's right. I'm a medium, but I don't see physical mediumship. Like I'm not, I have images in my mind. I use all my senses, but I don't physically see apparitions like you do, right? So it's quite different how you see it.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's one thing. Also, physical mediumship, it's a much more physical, like in the physical mediumship, around physical medium and a physical seance, everybody gets to experience the same thing, not just the medium.
Right.
Everybody will hear this people, spirit talk, the voice out of the air or whatever.
Amazing.
It's not just the medium who experiences, it's everybody.
Yeah, that's really off the charts kind of stuff. Like not everyone's doing that. So like even with myself, I can't make them hear what I'm hearing or see or feel what I'm feeling. So the fact that you can is off the charts. So, you know, you mentioned that you channel spirit and you do these seances, but one of the cool things that happens that you're kind of well known for is the ability to materialize apportations. So why don't you explain to folks what that is?
All right. Apportation is the materialization of objects, objects that are usually moved from one place to another. And that's common with people who get signs from loved ones who have crossed. You know, pennies, feathers.
Right.
They're reports.
Yeah.
But these reports, they're done under controlled circumstances. So I can demonstrate that and do demonstrate that in light so people can see it happening.
Yeah.
They materialise at the ceiling and drop down. Not just at the ceiling. I've been out with people. I like to meet people for coffee and to talk. And usually the spirit team come as well to make themselves known. And people have found love heart-shaped stones in their glasses case, in their purse, in their hand. That happened recently.
And I think I saw something on Facebook where you were at an event and somebody had a heart shape apparition show up in their bed, right? Wasn't that?
I'm a member of the local IONS, which is the International Association of Near-Death Studies. And the last two meetings, the meeting before last, we had a heart pendant dropped to the feet of a lady who was the guest speaker who, for the first time, spoke about her near-death experience for the first time.
Wow.
And it was just Spirit's way of saying thank you. We're so glad you did that.
Yes.
And the last week was the author Karina Machado. And when she got home, she had a beautiful, what was it? It was like a heart. It was an angel wings.
That's right.
Angel wings, metallic angel thing with wings was sitting on her bed when she got home. So that was beautiful. Even in front of me, with me being present. That was I went home to her house.
Yeah.
And I don't know where she lives, so
exactly.
No one can say I climbed through the window.
Because you got time for that, right? No, it's just, of course. Well, like people when they don't know what they don't know, and this kind of conversation is not mainstream, and that's kind of why I wanted you on, because it is mainstream and it's just not known, and people will avoid what scares them, or, I mean, like you yourself and me as a child, we avoided connecting with spirit because it was scary. Let's face it, right? So, what is the coolest thing spirit has ever gifted you? And I just saw, and I hope it caught up while I'm talking to you, on the screen, something just went down behind you. So we'll have to check behind you because I literally just watched something fall behind you.
No, there's two. Two white feathers.
Oh my gosh. I literally watched them fall down behind you. Okay. That's insane. That's insane. Because Marcus, I got the vibe too, man. I do. Like, if it happens here, like I said to the producer, it would be so cool if it happened here, right?
Well, I didn't expect it to, but beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I watched them fall behind you, like right behind you.
I wouldn't have known if you didn't say something.
Yeah. and I had I was actually doing an event probably last year. I want to say it was last year, and it was for psychic kids. And so it was like an event here in Niagara where parents could bring kids that are gifted, and we give them insight to kind of take the fear blocks away and give them the power back, right? And there was a little girl who came up to me after, who I had sort of pointed out in the audience. I'm like, you're one of the shiny ones, you know? She came up to me after and she said, the strangest thing happened to me just a few weeks ago. She said, I was in my room playing, and I think she was about, I want to say between 9 and 10. So she was a little bit older. And she said, basically I was playing in my room, and all of a sudden, out of the ceiling, this money starts pouring out of the ceiling. She goes, not 1 or 2 or 10 coins. We're talking like a mason jar full of coins just poured out of the ceiling. And her mom came running into the room and said, what is going on in here? Like, did you throw money at the wall? Because she came in and there's coins scattered everywhere. And the mother said, like, even the pictures on the wall had coins, like, laying on them, and in behind them, like, it was as if someone threw a mason jar at the wall. But she goes, there was no broken glass anywhere. And her little hands were so tiny for her to have picked up that amount of coin and thrown it at one time. It was impossible. So I had been connecting with loved ones on the other side during that event, and her grandfather came through, and he always gave her his pocket change. That was his thing. Here's my pocket change, honey. And so she said to me, when you were talking about, you know, who was coming through for me, she said, you mentioned my grandfather, and that's why I had to share that story with you, because I'm sure I was convinced it was my grandfather that sent me all that money. I'm like, I'm going to be having a chat with my brother on the other side and saying, no more dimes, man. I want pocketfuls of change thrown at me. Just amazing, right?
The most we've had, I think, is a $20 note that dropped down.
Wow. That's
cool. It was, yeah.
That's cool. So yeah, like that's probably the coolest. Yeah, right? Like, yeah, I guess we got to give them a break sometimes, right? Like, it's got to be a lot of work for them to do that. But how cool to see those feathers falling behind you. Okay. You and your wife, I'm going to get into this because we mentioned it in the intro, and I want to talk about this because your wife and you had to flee your home due to a poltergeist in 2008. And, you know, you were almost killed. So, you know, fleeing the scene. Please explain to our viewers what happened in your home that made you leave so quickly in the middle of the night.
Well, it started off the first night we were there, where my wife saw what people call them a shadow figure, and it was, I saw it many times too, would just glide along the walls, and, you know, that in itself isn't the worst thing, but it escalated, and it was becoming lots of loud banging. Things would go missing, even out of our locked safe while we were there, so, I mean, nobody was there.
Yeah.
And it escalated and escalated to where I'd wake up with scratches. Oh. I would have horrible nightmares every single night, to the point where I just didn't want to go to sleep. I was terrified, literally.
Yeah.
And then things started to be thrown, and that's when it got violent.
Yeah.
Like, there was one time my son was sitting on the lounge, and my beautiful iPod, it could have been broken, came flying up out of the kitchen into the lounge room and hit him. And, you know, that's violence. Yeah. So that's not acceptable at all. No. And I was already terrified, so that was just... there were many times when Vicky was at work, I would sit outside the whole day of the apartments and not go inside till she was home. I was just too scared. Yeah. Because I was sceptical before that, trying to hide all this, and I had to admit that this stuff was real. And that, you know, sort of broke down my belief system that I built deliberate ignorance, I called it.
Yes.
And that's a terrifying thought in itself, knowing that what you've convinced yourself is true is not true, and what you were hiding from is more real now than it ever was.
Yes. And have you discussed that with your spirit team? Like, what was the deal there? Like, were you really in harm, or was that someone on the other side trying to get your attention to wake you up?
That's exactly what it was. I call it the sledgehammer approach.
Yeah.
Stubborn, big-headed, and I wasn't going to wake up to do what I agreed to do. This is 20 years after, you see.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing was happening because I sort of again once closed off again, and I didn't think anything was going to come of it. I just thought maybe it was all a hallucination back then. You know, the NDE was nothing. Nobody believed me anyway, except my ex-wife, believe it or not. And I call it the sledgehammer approach. It was what I needed to wake up.
Yeah.
I had to accept what was the reality of the afterlife. I had to open my mind. Until my mind was open, there's no way I could be developed into the medium they needed me to be.
Yeah. It's funny because I've only ever met one other person who dealt with that type of horrific experience, right? Like I love the way you describe that, the sledgehammer approach. And she is a very strong medium as well. And I'm wondering, like, I often wonder if that's one of the reasons. But anybody watching this right now who is experiencing this kind of thing, you know, yeah, leave the house, right? Like, you don't have to stay there, but open up, be open. It's really, you know, I think that's the big message here. It's not it's not what we think or assume it is. It's to wake us up. Well, on the next note, because I got to wrap this up soon. And I cannot go without asking you about this epic invention you are working on, which is going to change the world for people with loved ones on the other side, which is like everybody, right? Please share with our viewers more about the communication device that you're working on with your spirit team, please.
All right. This is the spirit team's idea. It's not mine, so they've got to take the credit for that. What the idea is to have something where I can have grieving people come around and to have a short conversation, to hear their loved ones say, I love you again, or whatever, in their own recognisable voice. Beautiful. That's important.
Yes.
So what we've been doing, we've been getting text messages on the cell phones, iPhones, for the last 12 months, and that's from Les.
Wow.
Now, that's pretty incredible in itself.
Yeah.
From that, we got Apple Watches, the latest one, Series 4. They've got a walkie-talkie feature, whereas I could just press a button and then it'll come up on Vicky's watch, and wherever she is, I could say, hey, how you going? Can you get me some milk and sugar? It's just a handy little feature I have. Well, what has started happening is we'd be sitting around or whatever, and all of a sudden, it'd go off by itself. And we thought that this is a bit weird. So when it's kept happening over and over and over weeks, we thought, we'll try something, and we held the walkie-talkie function open so that it was sending a signal to her watch.
Yeah.
And we could hear a voice in there. And that voice was actually Troy, who's one of our spirit team. He's a technician that sort of runs the seance, that does all the phenomena and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
He, like me, is interested in technology, especially communications.
Wow.
So he was using that to try and speak. Now, over the weeks and months, it got louder and louder and louder. But it wasn't good enough. So now what's happening is he's using that to signal us, and I initiate a cell call from this watch to her watch, and that opens a line, a carrier wave. He's able to insert his voice onto that, and we can I had a 5-minute conversation with him just the other day. The idea is to get this to a point, we'll be moving, not using the watches, but using radio receiver instead.
Right.
That's the big step. But this is just sort of proof of concept type thing. And they will be able to bring in people's loved ones where I'll have a radio. Marcello Bauci, the Italian physical medium, he did this with his old valve radios. But this is just a modern take on that.
Wow.
And that's the idea, is to bring in people who are just grieving, to heal hearts, help heal.
Just mind blown for sure. It is going to, like, I already know it's going to happen. That's, you know, as a psychic, I already know it's going to happen. It's a question as to when, and I get to say that I spoke to you before it happened. Bragging rights. How would somebody, if they wanted to get in touch with you, how would they do that, Marcus? Like, what would be the best way to connect with you?
Facebook would be the best way. I'm a pretty private person, so I try and keep a profile just to that social media aspect, that just Facebook. You won't find me anywhere else, because I'm not out there looking for attention or anything like
I know.
that.
I know.
So Facebook you'll find me there.
And it's Marcus Hoody Lang on Facebook, right? And Hoody is in quotation marks. So anybody looking to connect with you, I suspect you're going to get some people following you after they see this.
I do like to share with like minds, that's for sure.
I just so grateful that I got to finally chat with you and bring your story to the world. You know, we're just small potatoes right now, but one day this show will be watched by the right people, and it's just going to give people the permission to be open about their near-death experiences and their spirituality, their connection with spirit. You're just an incredible guy, Marcus.
Thank you very much. Well, it's important for other people. If I can speak up, and it was hard for me. You're the first interview I've done. I've said no plenty.
And that's what I mean, like, just mind blown. So mind blown. So grateful. Totally grateful that you're supporting us here at the show. I was told once by a very wise older female psychic medium that out of every pile of shit grows a beautiful rose. And you, my friend, have experienced a pile of it, and look at the amazing rose bush you've become. It is...
It's funny you say that, because my nickname, the spirit team call me, is Bud.
No way. No way. Well, you know, it's been such a pleasure connecting with you and hearing your story, and I'm just so grateful. And thanks again.
I've really enjoyed it.
Good. Do many more interviews, my friend. People need to hear your story.
I will.
Take care.